wanted to ask someone completely different. So I'm just loving it. Mary, you have been with us from the beginning and you are a cooking coach. So I would love for you to share something around either self-care or rising up or anything like that. Just share with us your words on what you do to take care of yourself or what helps rise you up. And Blair, thank you so much, Goddess. We will be seeing you soon. Are you with us there, Mary?
Yep.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody. Well, I start my day with meditation. I really promote Insight Timer. It's grown tremendously throughout the COVID thing, and it's huge, but it's maintained its integrity. And I have some favorites. A friend pointed out to me, instead of spending time looking for a new and improved one, just stay with the same one. And that's how I start my day, with one that's called Believe. And I also use it during the day. If I need a little boost, I'll close my eyes, turn on Insight Timer, and use that. When I'm starting to cook, if I don't feel like it, I especially go and turn on my Bluetooth speaker and Spotify and put on some really good music to help me get started. One of my favorites is Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk. And yeah, those are a couple of things. And also getting out for a walk. I have some different routes. I know if I have a 5-minute route, a 20-minute, and a 40-minute route. So depending on how much of a break I want, I use one of those routes.
Thank you. That's 3. So meditation, you've got it planned. You've got your 3 routes planned, depending on,
Yes.
how much serenity you need that day. And then obviously your love for cooking. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks. Thank
and
you.
Angel, I got to ask you, as someone who just knows Blair's world, you guys are like, salt and pepper sisters, social media sisters. What about you? What stuck out for you when Blair was sharing?
Well, actually, what I would love to do, because this is one of those things where, like, even us peacocks sometimes forget to be our own peacock. I want to let everybody know that Blair's book was just listed as one of the most inspiring books for women's empowerment in 2023, included right alongside Gloria Steinem. And I did post the link for y'all to go and read about Blair and see her, see this incredible accolade that this woman is getting. She's what I love about Blair, she's walking the walk. Right. This isn't theory for her. She knows it. Like, she's been on the backside. She's doing this for herself. And yeah, if you haven't gone and clicked on that link, like, there she is, right? Her book, the Global Resilience Project is featured there. But one of the things that she actually talked about was how we name our stuff. Like, the law of attraction and what we're manifesting and what we're asking for from the universe. So the quality of our language dictates the quality of our life. And so I love how she made that switch when she saw, so when she just needed to see, and she made the switch, right? Like, this is the thing. We are not a tree. We can move. I think Blair is one of the most coolest people on the planet. And the more I get to know her and the more I'm around her and the more I see what she is doing, I just love her heart. But she's been through a lot of stuff. Right? I mean, it is heartbreaking what one woman has, been piled on, and she still shows up. She still shows up for us. And so I just want to give a little love and a little shout out to Blair today, because she's out there making things happen, and she's making things happen for all of us. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I think it's over to you now. Is it not, Angel?
It is.
We're gonna play the interview game. For those of you that, let's take a break a little bit here. Is that if you are here and you didn't know that you had an opportunity to be here and share like these incredible women, we've got spots left for sharing. We are going to be sharing until May 11th, 2024. There's 22 summits. It's 2262. And 262 women in the book, and there's 22 summits, and on the 8th day of the month, and you are all going to walk taller and prouder and louder, and you're all going to be wearing red, and you're all going to be in New York, and you're all going to be, and so if you want to be in the book, we welcome you to be in the book. If you want to share, then you can share in this, we've got some space for you. So you can reach out, just put it in the chat, deb@debdrummond.com. Me and Angel will walk you through. And what Angel was sharing this morning is that if you're not feeling, and not that I haven't shared before, but I think it's really nice to be interviewed. I love, you can share like these women are rocking it, or you can be interviewed, a little bit more casual style. And so Angel's going to, I think, interview me.
I am. I get to introduce Deb Drummond is our next featured speaker. I do want to let everybody know our next event is on May 8th, which is the week of Mother's Day, right? It falls right before Mother's Day. It falls the week of Mother's Day. But I do think, Deb, it might actually be kind of fun if we color coordinated, right? Like if we chose a color or color scheme or color family, right? For the Zoom, right? I just think it might be really pretty. So if you guys have a vote, if you guys have a favorite color that maybe we should all dress up in and come to our Mother's Day tea, right? On May 8th, post that in and we'll consider that. And maybe we'll just, we just want to continue to make this very engaging and interactive. And truly have it be a gift to you, right? That you take this day and reserve the 8th of every month as a day that you're just going to come up and show up for yourself, put everything else aside, right? And it might fall on a weekend, it might fall on the middle of the week, but we're giving you plenty of notice, right? To block it off your calendar. Most of us, have some control over our calendar, right? And scheduling some of at least part of our day. And so if you can just block the 8th of the month off, and then maybe we'll do something really fun and color coordinated for our little Mother's Day, our Mother's Day tea. Okay, so I do get the fabulous gift of getting to interview Deb, right? And as we were talking about different topics and different things that she could bring, this woman is a wealth of information. She wears a lot of different hats. She has a lot of incredible gifts and expertise level in a lot of different things. She actually created the first holistic health clinic in her city. And for 27 years, she worked on over 30,000 clients, optimizing their health, as well as, of course, she's an international speaker on top performance health. She's been coined the professional hippie. How is that? Right? She's going to talk today about how brain health is sexy. Brain health is sexy. What we don't know about Deb was that she spoke on a brain summit with the one and only Dr. Joe Dispenza. How many of you are familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza? And Deb got to speak on a brain summit with Dr. Joe. Her favorite milkshake flavor, of course, right? It's a little odd. I don't know if I've ever even had a milkshake this flavor, but her favorite milkshake flavor is root beer. Her free gift for everyone is a personal complimentary mini brain health consult, and the value is $85. So all of us are going to get that complimentary gift just for being here today. So thank you so much for that, Deb. And her really big gift, right? Anyone who loves music and wants to come on to her podcast and share the most magical moments with music, a $400 value. And then she has a free gift for one person is a full health consultant and personal healthcare products valued at $350 plus the $400 podcast. So it's a $750 gift that she's going to be giving away to one fabulous person. And her favorite musical album is Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. So Deb, oh my gosh, so much, right? So much to share. And actually, before I get into the interviewing, because you are asking everybody about what their favorite album is, you tie a lot of this into music. The gift that you're giving away has to do with music. Let's talk about why we're bringing music into all of the things that you're covering here today.
Thank you. Well, if you've been with us from the beginning, you heard me talk a little bit about the They Did It tour. And the fact that I'm talking about brain health, keeping us healthy and keeping us happy neuronally, I think we know the power of music. I think we know how music can work with our feelings, work with our emotions. It can make us feel better. Sometimes if we want to feel sad because it's a feeling we need to dive into, we put those songs on that make us feel melancholy when we're looking to remember somebody. I think the biggest thing about They Did It tour, and if you don't know what it is, myself and my colleague, we're going to be walking multiple marathons across Ireland to raise awareness of the power of music and to also raise funds for organizations that are supporting people in the music community, because it is a community that gets hit really hard. Sometimes people have said, music community, like, what do you mean? And whenever we think of music, we always think of the big ones, right? I mean, I mentioned Alicia Keys as, her charity is part of this. People are like, well, Alicia doesn't need my funding. But over 90% of people in the music industry can't pay their rent. And I ask people, when's the last time you bought an album? And Spotify pays 0.0034 cents. So it is a community that gives to us in so many ways, makes us feel better every single day we can access it. It's a free access. And it's really time to just bring that awareness. And what I want to do is, and what me and Corinne want to do is we want to build community. So we're training in Canada, we're walking in Ireland, we're supporting global charities. And we kind of want to bring back, if you don't know what this song is, then you're young. So it's called We Are the World. And the beautiful thing about music is that it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter what kind of music you listen to, doesn't matter how old you are. I will never hate you for loving country, and you're never going to hate me for loving, opera. It's just not how it goes. So it is, and I think after everything we've gone through with, there's been a little bit of like, I like this, I like that, I believe in this, I believe in that. Everybody can agree that music is a beautiful thing. And so, yes, asking people their favorite music, it's just a great reminder of how powerful it is as motivators. You're listening to, my gosh, you're listening to some most powerful speakers that have tapped into music, and it just makes you feel so darn good. So thank you for asking me about that. And it is absolutely incredible for your brain. If anyone knows me and I'm doing a long day and I'm ever late for a meeting, which I tend not to be, but if I'm ever a few minutes late, I'm listening to a song. I take music breaks throughout my day. Obviously our beautiful cooking coach here, she takes walks. I literally will shut this down and I will dance. Don't do it, but I dance in the shower. Don't do it in case you fall. No legal things here. So, you do you dance when you're out of the shower, but I'm always dancing. I'm always dancing in the morning and listening to music. It's a great way to start my day, to reframe.
I love it, right? Like we watch Deb, we watch her energy, we watch what she does and how much she accomplishes in a single day. So getting a little sneak peek, right, into her routine and things that she is doing, right? These are the secrets of the master, right? We're seeing exactly what Deb is doing to accomplish all that she has. So like listening to music and all of that. And I love it. So we did ask you, right? If you've got a favorite song, a favorite album, favorite music, if you want to share your favorite in the chat, because you just might inspire somebody else to want to go and listen to that. And like Deb said, like the industry, I mean, how many of us, and this is a little sidebar, people want our stuff for free, right? They're like, hey, can you just show up and can I get this? Like they want the family discount, or, I know a lot of like photographers and social media, like they just like, can you just do this thing for free? And as an artist, as a musical artist, that's happening to them practically every single day. People just sharing their music, taking their intellectual property, right? And we know how that feels as an entrepreneur when somebody asks us for a discount or doesn't want to pay for our services. And so we can relate, right? We can relate to that feeling. So I love that Deb is bringing attention to that and is on a crusade and on a mission to make a difference. So, all right, so let's get into this brain health topic, Deb, because it's a little deep. Right. And I'm, I don't know that any of us or for me, right. Maybe for those of you, you do, but like, what made you fall in love with the brain, right? Of all the organs, of all the things, why the brain?
I know I talk about it being my favorite organ. I actually have a brain on my desk. Well, as Angel said, I'm a big part of holistic medicine. I fell in love with holistic medicine when people really thought I had lost it. I had completely lost it. And starting a business in it as well was, let's just say it wasn't my family's proudest moment. They're like, you're doing what? This was 30 years ago. They're like, can you just be a teacher? Anyways, I fell in love with holistic medicine. And so there's all aspects of holistic medicine that I loved. I had always also studied top performance. Now, not top performance in the brain and not top performance in the body yet, but I had studied top performance in business and continue to do. And I found it very interesting how the brain was working in relationship to strategy and engineering and all of that linear stuff about business. And what really inspired me was that I was, full in practice. And my daughter, who's amazing, and she struggled with a learning challenge. And it became apparent when she was crying herself to sleep when she was in grade 3. And she came to me one day and she said, I can't do what the other kids do. Oh, I can still feel that. And she's 30 years old and has 2 kids. Okay. And she goes, I can't do what the other kids do. And she was in a Montessori program. So I was like, okay. So we started kind of digging in. And that was the beginning of psych ed testing and the beginning of all that process of trying to figure it out. And we eventually in grade 10, found out the real reason. And that she had a speech processing disorder. So as I'm talking, she can't comprehend as fast. She takes 4 times to absorb what I'm saying. Okay, so as I'm going through that process, I happen to be in the health field. Like any parent probably would, they're going to start hitting the books and trying to figure stuff out. So as I'm doing that, and look, I changed my kids' diet a long time ago, and I'll tell you about that. Like there was no sugar, wheat, and dairy in my house. I've been sugar, wheat, and dairy for 31 years, and that was a given. So I was very educated through getting sick when I was in my 20s on how important diet is to your health. And I know it might sound really normal now, but it wasn't. Just take me back, when I was 27. Okay. And I got sick, and then someone helped me change my diet and all that kind of stuff. And my world changed. And so I just raised my kids that way. Silver lining for them. So when I was reading, there wasn't a lot that I was getting. And one day I was watching PBS, and there was a brain doctor, top neuro brain doctor, and he was talking. And my mouth was dropping, kind of like when I was watching, Gloria Allred's. And I was like, and I screamed and I yelled for my daughter, and I'm like, get in my bedroom. And she comes running in, what? I go, listen to him. And within 3 minutes, she goes, Mom, that's me. Mom, that's me. And so he was a brain doctor. So then I start diving in and reading all his works and doing all his listening and reading and researching and what can I do and da. And his name was Dr. Daniel Amen. And so I just really started doing all his stuff, right? Like almost like he had a stalker student. There you go. # stalker student. So it was a # stalker student. And I was researching, and a lot of the works back then, he could tell about the brain, but there was no solution. There was no supplement yet. I'm a believer in supplements. I just think we live in a modern world and you have to work with that. I've always been a supplement person, and I was looking for supplements and looking for things that we could do. And so that's when I first fell in love with the brain. No, I loved the brain, but that's when I first became dedicated to the brain. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, right. I mean, so, right, something very personal, and now, right, the impact that you're making. And I think this is one of those things that, like, sometimes we can take our mess, right, and it becomes our message, right? And this is what Deb has done. And rather than let that just be something internal, like she's now bringing this out into sharing this with all of us. So thank you for that, because getting to the root of what's going on is so important. Now you say, this is a funny phrase, right? Like you say, they're going to love you in the beginning, or they're going to hate you in the beginning, but they're going to love you in the end. What does that mean to you, Deb?
It means if any of you turn your camera off while I say this, because you got other things to do, you better listen to Sandy. And as you get comfortable, I'm going to just about to make you uncomfortable. And this is why people call me Janis Joplin. I don't have an hour to powder puff this. I'm just going to kind of lay it out at you. Your brain is incredibly important. And if you are a businesswoman here, this is the health of your brain absolutely has a relationship with your paycheck. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that you wake up every morning foggy and that doesn't affect your paycheck. You can't tell me that you wake up or that you're tired. You're tired at 7 o'clock at night when you used to be able to stay up at 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. Do you remember the days that you used to go out for dinner at 7:30 at night? And now you can't even imagine because you're already like out of your day clothes, and it would take like I don't know, a wheelbarrow to come get you out and, you know, go for dinner at 8:30 at night. Remember that? But you can have that. I'm going to tell you as many ideas as I can, or not even ideas. I'm going to tell you actuals to get you back there. But first I got to kind of like shake it up a little bit. So there's some truths around how we treat our brain. And you know what? The problem is we don't see it. We see our arm, we see our leg, we see when our butt isn't the way we want it to be, right? We see when the muffin top is there and we want to do something about it, but you never hear people say, I'm going to do something about my brain.
Yeah.
The other thing that you don't hear people do is talk about it. And it actually is, it's as quiet and internal as people don't want to admit that they're starting to lose their memory. People don't want to admit, they laugh about it. Oh, I can't find my glasses everywhere. Oh, they were on my head. Or, you know, da 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 da. Or you make little boxes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. People joke about it, but the truth is you walk into the kitchen, you walk into the bathroom, you walk into the garage, you walk into the whatever, and you forget things. And I want to talk about what that's about in a minute, but I want to tell you some things that you can do for your brain because I don't have a whole lot of time here. So excuse the non-fluffy, but there's some things that you really should take into consideration when it comes to your brain. You don't see it, therefore we don't attend to it. The other thing is if you're starting to feel like you're losing grasp of your memory, your concentration, your focus, your clarity, or your retention, or your energy, you know, seek someone out. Look, call me. I just gave everyone a little free consult. I'll be happy to put you in the right direction, right? May not be the direction that I'm doing, may not be the supplements I'm doing, may not be the person that I'm going to, but I'll put you in the right direction because that's what we do. So there's things that you can do though that are free. And I'm going to tell you the things that you can do that are free at home. So hate me. But if you are 30 pounds overweight and you know your own weight for your own body, your brain will drop by 28% in terms of function. So I can't tell you to have a better brain and not tell you to not watch what you eat or whatever it is that you do that has your body in a state of overweight for you. So it drops by function by 28%. Like, do we not have enough stuff out there that's drawing our, including our phone and what have you? So it'll drop the brain function. And again, like it or not like it, alcohol will drop you 30%. 30% your brain will lose in function. And we all know that we don't feel great the next day, depending. And we all like, oh, hey, I'll live this or have some water in between or whatever it is that you need to do, right? I have de-alkalized wine. Like when I'm cooking, you know, people cooking, and by the time they finish cooking, they're like, well, they've kind of had their amount already. There's beautiful bottles of de-alkalized wine. You can have them when you go to parties. There's all sorts of solutions around. I got de-alkalized vodka, de-alkalized gin, de-alkalized beer, and you can have that if you want to be social and have that alcohol-free night, or your brain needs a break. Like if you're maxed or you're running the game, don't drink, right? Don't drink. Okay. So the other thing in terms of food, one of the things I have to tell you is sugar. Sugar, we all know, you know, people go to me, oh man, I love sugar. And I go, you know what? But sugar doesn't like you. Like, it's so hard to give up sugar. I love sugar. Yeah, well, you know what? It wants to break up with you. Doesn't like you, and you're dating someone that will never marry you. How's that? Okay. Because sugar plays on the same nerve neuronally as heroin and nicotine. You want to know why it's hard to give up? Because it's the same nerve as heroin and nicotine. Now, you have a little bit of sugar here, you have a little bit of sugar there. You know, like Angel says, you do you. But if sugar is a big part of your, you know, is a part of your diet, you don't even know sometimes. So I've been off sugar for like 31 years. I raised my kids with no sugar. You know what? You have to, like Daniel Amen says, you have to be a brain warrior. So Halloween comes. So do you think I want to ostracize my kids and, you know, like they're not going to go therapy enough when they get older? Like, I'm going to give them another reason to go to therapy. So I went to all of the neighbors and I gave them sugar-free candy. When my kid comes by, this is what you put in the bucket. And then the last one gets to put a real treat because they're allowed to have one treat. And I have a bucket at home that looks the exact same as the bucket they're trick-or-treating in. So they get all these ones and then I switch it out. In case some sneaky stuff got in there, right? I mean, you can accommodate it. I make the most incredible sugar-free desserts. They were allowed to have sugar-free desserts for breakfast while everyone else was having cereal, toast, and jam. Okay. less sugar. So there's lots of, and now, come on, now it's ridiculous. I mean, look at, when I went off sugar, I was eating cardboard, okay? Cardboard and really bad tasting jam. I tell you, it was not fun, but you can do it now super, super easy. So sugar is not alcohol. The other thing is, and I'm not here, and look at, the other thing is, I'm not here to judge. Go ahead and do what you do. It doesn't matter. I'm just giving you information, take it, not take it, you know, hate me, you'll love me soon. You'll love me because I'll stop talking. No. But the other thing is, you know, now, you know, pot is legal. So I just want to tell you from a brain perspective that there is not one part of your brain, not one, that does not get affected, does not denullify from pot. Because people say pot and alcohol are the same, not when it comes to your brain. If you want to put it into buckets in other areas, you that's cool. But when it comes to your brain, it is not the same. Alcohol affects part of your brain, pot affects all of your brain. Okay, so now you're going to eat better, you're going to do that. The one thing I have to talk about is gluten, because gluten is an inflammagen and it creates inflammation. And if you follow like the brain grain doctor or what have you, not only does it make you foggy, is that they tie it, and I'm not going to say, no, they tie it. They believe it plays a part in the world of Alzheimer's. Now, from someone who studied brain health, I can tell you statistically, we are well over 50% of people over 75, over 50% of them will have Alzheimer's. Over 50%. So if you can start to preactive, and here's the scary thing. Before the first diagnosis of Alzheimer's, it's been in the body for at least 25 years. If there is anything to be preventative about in your body, it's your brain, because it starts 25 years. And so then when people get there, they're like, I think it's too late. First of all, it's never too late. It's never too late. You can win the lottery on the last number. It's never too late to change some of the things that you can change, because there's things about prevention and extension and miracles and all sorts of things. But think about 25 years. Think about 25 years. That's kind of crazy. Okay, I'm going to give you some good things too, right? I'm going to give you some good things too. So, you know, a lot of us sports, right? Sports, or our kids do sports. I have nothing against sports when I say this. The three worst sports for your brain, obviously, are soccer, hockey, and football, for obvious reasons. You know, bouncing the bed off your prefrontal cortex. This is your prefrontal cortex that does not develop till you're 25 as a girl and 27 as a guy. So now you know why they say women mature sooner. It's the prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is responsible for you making the right decisions. I needed some help with that. Some couple of decisions I made in my life, but that's the deal. So you can imagine bouncing a ball off your head. Here's the thing: our scalp on the outside is smooth, on the inside it is jagged, and your brain is the consistency of butter or tofu. For those vegans, it's tofu. Okay, so you imagine when you fall, the inside of your skull has, you know, jagged edges. So you're going bounce, 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 right? Probably not so great, but this is what it is. I'm not saying it's not a bad sport, but the best sport, here you go. Best sport, ping pong. Go play some ping pong. Absolutely best sport for your brain. Sleeping. We all know that we need to sleep some more. Now look at, we all, like me, we're going for it. We're doing stuff. I'm not talking about those times where you're doubling down, you're doing a project, crazy summit, or writing a book till wee hours of the night, doing your book launch. I'm talking about on a regular basis. Most of us know our own rhythm. Like, you have your rhythm of what works for you. I'm giving you a general stat that, let's just say that I called, Sandy's going to move to BC, and I'm like, Sandy, oh my gosh, there's something I've always wanted to do. And I wanted to go do the bow and arrow thing. Want to come with me? She's like, no, but she's coming anyway. So we're going to go do the bow and arrow thing, right? Now, if I have 8 hours of sleep up, I have a 90% chance on my first time with the bow and arrow hitting the middle. That drop, if I have 7 hours, it goes to 70%. And if I have between 5 to 6 hours, it goes to 30%. That is how much your sleep plays with your accuracy.
Wow. Wow.
So there's things that you can do. You can do things like dark curtains in your bedroom. You can have these things over your eyes, right? So just be in a, do you know how good you sleep in a hotel? Like, you have to get them to call you because you can't wake up, because they're like, you're like deep REMing, right? And all of us probably needed some really, really good deep REM. The other thing is that when you sleep, there's this little, it's a free housekeeping service comes in, and it actually sweeps all the toxins out of your brain. That's why you feel so good when you wake up in the morning and you've had a good rest. Like literally it has swept the toxins out of your brain. Okay. So, do you have another question for me? Something
Well,
that
I know, I'm taking notes, right? I think that for many of us, because we don't see it, right? We don't see the impact, that it's easy to ignore. And we do tend to just joke it off, right? Oh, right. And just dismiss it. But, how many of you listening to Deb, you're like, okay, I think I might really need to pay attention to some of my habits, my daily habits, as far as what we know that food, right? And, what we intake has an impact on inflammation in our body. Of course, it's going to impact our brain. And then sleep, I just put in, like, if like how many on average, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? We know there's been a lot of studies on we are not getting enough sleep and how important sleep is to the function of just our overall health, but now especially to our brain. Does this tie into the EHT question, or is that something different, Deb?
No, I can answer to that. I can answer to that because I know I'm probably a little over time. I'm going to go over time. I don't think so. I think I'm pretty good on here. There's a couple of things that I want to tell you that you can do. Okay. When we're talking about food, the other thing is if you contact me, let me know, remind me to talk to you because everyone's different on whether you eat proteins and carbs in the same meal. Because there's some suggestions I can give you about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Deb, we are all going to want like some recipes from you and some guidelines on what it is that you're eating and when. So I don't know if that was like a gift, but I'm pretty sure we're all going to want Deb's like recipes.
Yeah. So, this is one of the things that I'm passionate about. And it's funny because this is one of the things that people don't really know. And when people say to me, how do you do what you do? I tell them, if there's anything that I do, I take care of my brain. I believe that this piece right here, most important piece of real estate I own, like straight up, most important piece of real estate. So I won't buy that, or I won't do that, but I'll do this. I'm at, my nutraceutical, I don't have any issues at all with that or taking care of my body. So I want to tell you some things that are really good for your brain. And I'll talk about the EHT. So laughter every night. When I say every night, I mean every night. I was exhausted last night. I was listening to Kathy Madigan. Oh my gosh, she's Irish and she's funny. So I listened to, I can't tell you 2 days in a row in the last 4 years that I haven't listened to comedy before I go to bed. Okay. I used to listen to Johnny Carson, and then I listened to the next guy, and then the next guy, and now it's, Stephen Colbert and Kimmel. So good for the brain. Laughter, and also chimes. I'm not going to chime you out, but if you have chimes, this balances the left hemisphere of your brain, the right hemisphere of the brain, hit them together, and it balances your whole brain. So chimes, meditation, chanting. I teach a great chanting. Call me. We'll do some Lakshmi chanting. It removes obstacles to material goods. So if you want some material goods, we'll do some Om, Ram, Shreem together. Okay. Lymphatic drainage massage. If you're in the hood, let me know. I can put you together with somebody. No gluten. We talked about that. Reducing your alcohol, reducing sugar, conscious sports, technology breaks. We've all done it. I went out last night and had a, I was like, I need to turn my phone over, give your brain a technology break. We all know that. The last thing I'll finish with is EHT. And the reason why Angel's asking me that, because it's something that I take as a supplement. So you can contact me. There's different supplements people have for their different reasons, but this has been the one best that I have found that covers all things. When it comes to the world of how I live, whether it's in my business or physically or parenting or what have you, I'm kind of a source. I need to find the source. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, if anyone needs to know. And so we always look at what the source of the problem is. Your headaches might be due to you have a flu, or it might be due that you're going through stress at work, or you might have a daughter that's causing you stress. We all have different reasons for different things. And so if you can fix the source, then you can fix the cause. It's just it's a better way to go. So there is something that I take. It's eicosanol 5-hydroxytryptamide 5. Okay, it's called EHT. It's a natural derivative from the green coffee bean. I wish I could tell you to drink green coffee bean and you could have a better brain. It just doesn't work that way. It's a derivative from there. But your brain has been aging since you're 21. And so the other thing is, in telling you this, I want you to realize, and I don't want you to feel bad if you're that person that's forgetting their keys. I can promise you, I don't forget my keys anymore. I always know where my glasses are. There's things you can do. You can reverse your brain at any state. You can become a brain warrior at any age. It's true. And so you have something in your brain called a microtubular. That tubular, whether you liked it or not, started to unravel at 21 years old. So just at the age where you're starting to really abuse your brain, it's already starting to do its own job, and it's unraveling. Why is that a problem? Well, because this tube is the charging cord to your neurons. So you have a tube and it's charging your neurons. You have a tube, it's charging your neurons. And this synaptic connection happens by transmission. Okay, transmission. They're not touching. So what happens is as these start to unravel and lose charge, it's like never replacing the battery in your cell phone. It's never getting an upgrade. It's never buying a new phone. You are an iPhone 6. Your microtubulars are an iPhone 6, and your neurons are trying to do iPhone 13 or 42. God knows what they're going to come up with, right? But it can't. So the neurons have died, or they're weak, they can't connect, or this one's shooting and this one's like, see you later, Sally, I'm done. And so you have it affects your concentration, your energy, which is where you should all be going dancing out at night, the focus and your ability to remember and retain that remembrance. Okay, so when you take EHT, we call it EHT, it's just easier for everybody. It's the backwards, okay? You take the EHT, what happens is it activates an enzyme called PP2A, sends tau protein, and it rewraps the microtubular. When it rewraps the microtubular, it stops the damage, covers and prevents the damage from happening again, and you start to spark off with that retention. Remember, it just basically gives your memory back. So that's what I take. I take along other things like, good vitamins B, and it's all full of really good things. Ginkgo biloba is another really good one to take for your brain. Lots of vitamin Bs, but they need to be supplemented. So that's why I wanted to say about EHT, because in all my research and all my years and all my everything, and I'm still pretty active in that arena. I just went and talked at UBC here, the University of BC, at a day of Ayurvedic with doctors, and we had great conversations about all sorts of conditions. It is still the number one easy nutraceutical that people can have full access to pretty well globally that can help prevent and correct. So there you go. And so for the person and look, call me if someone wants, or you want a couple samples or something, just call me. I can't not in this area. I am a bleeding empath. Like you call me, I will give it to you.
All right. So Deb, what else? What else do we want to make sure that we cover when it comes to just taking care of our brain and our brain health today that maybe you didn't get to answer? I didn't ask.
Well, you know what? I think that listening to everybody talk, like, we just had meditation. Sandy talked about hanging out with the right people. Sarah talked about loving your work. Okay. We've had people share about, your inspiration and your passion and what it is that you do. And being on purpose, like Blair talked about being on purpose. Those are the things, like what I want to tell you about your brain, like this beautiful, gorgeous organ that has to serve you till the end. Please understand, your brain has to be at optimum to the end. You want it there to the end, is that it's going to be, you want to make some changes, let's take some changes. It's all of the small changes that are going to add to the big changes, which is why I'm talking about sleep, and I'm talking about music, and I'm talking about nutrition, and I'm talking about deleting things. And you guys can Google what's good to eat for the brain. I mean, we don't have time to get into that, but I'm also talking about supplementation, and I'm talking about modernization when I talk about that. So that's, your sports, all those things, that you can do will all play privy to optimizing this thing that you want in full function. And my biggest message is that you can have the best brain possible. You can fix it.
I love it. I love it. Fabulous. All right. Well, so I know somebody make sure that my trivia question is not asking the full name of EHT. Better not be the trivia question. It is not. So Deb, tell us again what one lucky lady is going to be winning today when they answer the trivia question.
Well, we're gonna hang. You're gonna call me, and I'm really versed in the brain, but I'm also pretty versed in the the whole person. And so we're gonna have a great health consult to optimize your brain. Now, you might want to optimize it for business success, finances, more relationship mode, more memory mode, more concentration mode, and we can I can tell you what to do in each of those. And we're going to talk about what you need from a supplementation, and I'm going to gift those supplements to you. You're going to be able to experience some of that EHT that I was just talking about, and some other things depending on what your body needs. We're going to talk about that. And then everybody can come for a brain consult and we can have a conversation. You might say, you know what, I'm really good in this area, but how do I sharpen my brain so that I can make more money? That is a legitimate conversation. That is a legitimate health conversation. It's a legitimate health conversation. Yes.
So if you are part of the 262 summits and part of the book, we have a private Facebook group that we are creating a community in, and we want to invite you. Part of why we're hosting these summits every single month is to build this community of almost 300 women, right, who are entrepreneurs, creatives, all, you know, out there making this super impact in your world and in your space. And we are inviting you to join us. And so I know Dorothea has been putting the link in the chat if you want to be in the book, if you want to be part of the summits, if you truly want to be a part of this community, to be on the inside. And then we're going to have each one of our speakers is going to be going in this month and sharing just more little juicy nuggets and mic drops for self-care, things that they've shared throughout the month. And I'm hoping we can get Deb to share some of her recipes, and maybe some of the links for, like, if we need to transition from sugar, right? And we need some yummy stuff, or even transitioning from alcohol and having some really fun alternatives. Like, we all have these little nuggets and women love to share. So we want to invite you to be a part of that group. This is all the kickoff or the lead up to the Mission Accepted book that is coming out International Women's Day. I just posted a picture of the book, and we invite you to be a part of it. So click on that link. Make sure that if you are not yet part of our 262 private community, that you join us, There's lots of levels to get involved depending on the visibility package and the exposure that you're looking for and your level of involvement. But Deb has just done something really beautiful. So the trivia question for the person who is going to win this lovely prize with her was, for females, at what age does the prefrontal cortex become fully developed? At what age? I know this one might be a little bit of a stumper and a thinker, right? So what age does the prefrontal cortex develop for ladies, for women, for females? So we need the age, like the number, and then your email address so that we can give you that really beautiful prize. So not just the number, make sure you also put in your email address when you give an answer, so that Dorothea can match you up and send you that prize. So I was thinking we should take a little self-care, little break, run to the kitchen, and I want you to mix up, right? So I'm kind of throwing a little monkey wrench at you, right? I want you to run to the kitchen, and I want you to mix up in a little bowl. I want you to grab either some Epsom salt, some sea salt, some table salt. If you don't have salt, you can also do sugar, and probably Deb won't have sugar in her kitchen, right? But we're going to make a little scrub, either a sea salt scrub or a little sugar scrub. And you're going to mix a little bit of this granular ingredient with either some coconut oil or some olive oil, or a little, whatever oil you happen to have. If you have essential oils, you can put a couple drops of essential oils into this little scrub, right? And we're going to come back and we're going to give ourselves like a little hand massage, right? So I just think that would be just a really yummy, like, little self-care thing, because we have a few minutes before we're bringing up our next speaker that is scheduled. So we're going to just take a little break. Maybe if you have to run and go potty like me, fill up your water, right? I'm imagining most of us have filled up and drank our water as we've been here for the last few hours. So fill up your water, take a little bio break, something in, something out. And I want you to mix up your own little sea salt scrub or sugar scrub. And when we come back, we're going to give ourselves a little hand massage. So let's take a 10-minute, go and grab and do all that. Is that all right, Deb? I didn't
Sure,
ask,
I
right?
totally surprised by me. So, okay.
I know, I just threw this at her. Like, we have a few extra minutes before Michelle is scheduled to come in.
So let's come back. Yeah, 7 minutes. How about
7 minutes. Okay, 7 minutes.
I'll get it, and then I'm gonna come back and stay here. I'll go get my little mixture, stay here if people want to chat or whatever. And then
Yeah, and ask Deb questions about this movement, about the They Did It tour, about being part of the book, being a part of the summits. You can put those questions in. And so we're just going to take a quick little break while we run and get our little scrub, and we'll be back in 7 minutes.
Okay. Well, if anyone is hanging out and has any questions for me, I'm here. Just take yourself off mute. Doesn't have to be questions about brain health. Maybe I've scared you or loved you. Who knows, right? Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to share about self-care or what International Women's Day means to them? All right, Sarah.
Hi, Jan. EFT, where do you get it? Because I know that must be some name brands that are kind of copycats that aren't very good with it. You know, it's we don't want to kind of just go to the local drugstore, or can we? I mean, how is it taken? Is it powder form? Is it pill form? What's the best time to take it? All of that. I'd like to know more about that.
Okay, so the EHT that you're talking about from the brain. Okay. Well,
Typical dyslexia. Get my name, get the letters all the wrong way.
do that. So actually, my daughter represents that brand. It was a brand that we both helped bring into Canada. It's Princeton University. They were looking for a cure for Alzheimer's, and it just so happened that a company that we were helping with some natural skincare products aligned with Princeton and ended up taking over the product. And so if anyone's interested in EHT, I can obviously help you, and so can Chloe. You can't buy it at a drugstore or what have you. It's a patent product, and that's really why it took so long to get to the public market, because you don't patent. We help them patent the extraction process, because if not, then it ends up in, you know, things like, nothing against Costco, but you'll find it in, you know, with oat bran and a bunch of fillers and blah, 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 blah. And it's a father and son team that actually had Alzheimer's in their family. And they were looking for something that they could take nutraceutical. Goodness knows they could do pharmaceutical. The issue for them was recognizing the financial difference between taking something pharmaceutical and nutraceutical. So they were looking for something nutraceutical so that it was feasible and availability for everybody. So you can contact me and I can put you in touch with Chloe. So thank you that's a great question, because you go start asking for EHT or eicosanols 5-hydroxytryptamide 5. If you wrote that down, they're going to be like, I don't know you, you know, but interesting. A girlfriend of mine did take when she was, because she had brain trauma. So she went to her chiropractor and said, hey, you know what, I've heard about this, you know, this ingredient. And he looked at her and said, how did you get that? We as a community have been studying and we've known of that, and it's never been brought to market. And then she said, well, this company's finally been able to patent it, whatever. And he said, take it, like absolutely take it. And it was game changing for her. She had extreme case of PTSD. Yeah.
It's across the board, isn't it? I mean, you talked about the battery never fully charging, you know, and whether you sleep well or don't sleep well, it's always that little bit of brain fog. And, you know, I know in my condition, brain fog is one of the big things, and it doesn't matter, engagement and being proactive and all of those type of things are essential, but we need help. We need help along the way that can keep the brain sharp, so that we're not having to work so hard to keep it sharp. So definitely, I want some. Count me in, girl.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you. Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer, I know you've been with us since the beginning. And by the way, I got to tell you, I love your lipstick. I was like, what a great color. I was like, how do I'm gonna send it to her it's a great color. So
thank you. All about the pink. I love pink.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I was like, oh, I should wear my dress today.
Aw. So, all right, this may be a little bit like off the cusp of a regarding the product that you're speaking of, but I'm a mental health advocate, and a lot of people that I'm trying to advocate for are taking psychotropic drugs, and it's having such impact with the side effects and everything on their brain. And so, you know, everything like that we all spoke about here regarding music and how the words we choose to say, and all of these things have an impact on our brain. But when people are taking these drugs, like, they need a lot of options to either one of the biggest issues, there's thousands of people that I'm in contact with daily over social media that are coming off of these products or trying to, and they have severe, and just to personalize it myself, I have a family background that also endured all of this, and myself, and I'm a former pharmaceutical sales rep that sold these products, just to give you a background.
Mhm.
So yeah. So
No.
the question is that I'm always looking for ways and options. I'm a big believer in options and transparency. And so, I'd like to learn more about this product. The question I would have is, are there any side effects? And or if somebody is trying to come off of a psychiatric drug and they're going through great withdrawals, just as an alcoholic would, or a drug addict that's doing street drugs would have those types of withdrawals, these people are suffering. So would this product be something that could help to restore that type? It's brain damage, really.
Yeah, so what we can, because it's a nutraceutical, and you know what, if you go to, because there's lots of things that they can, I mean, I can only speak for 20 minutes here, but if you go to my YouTube at Deb Drummond, if you scroll down under a lot of the podcasts, you'll see that I've done a full brain lecture that might give some ideas on things that they can do, like how much time they're sleeping, dark curtains, things like that, that can do and have accessibility right now to do, that's inexpensive and free to do, right? It's free to stop eating sugar. So there's different things. So you can go to Deb Drummond and subscribe, because I send out things. There's meditations that I've done there and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the product itself, what I'll want to do is I can send you the science data. What we can, we can't legally say dun, 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 dun. So we can't because it's a nutraceutical, say the word cure. We can say may. Just like two of my girlfriends took this product, they're no longer dyslexic, but we can't say it cures dyslexia. There's been many people come off antidepressants, but we can't say that it stops people from being depressed. My son had a completely different, he had a learning challenge as well as my daughter. He was different within 11 days. For me, and I take care of my brain and what have you, I woke up 3.5 weeks later. Everyone's having their experience. And I honestly, I wasn't arrogant, but I just thought, I've been taking care of my brain for how many years? I'm probably not going to have a result. I'm just going to take this from a preventative standpoint. And 3.5 weeks later, I woke up and I literally grabbed my phone and I called my colleague and I said, I feel like my brain's gone to the gym this morning. And I woke up and the clarity. And for me, it was being able to be highly adaptive to high stress, like the multiple plate thing and all that kind of stuff. Just things were just kind of rolling off my back. And I was like, wow, I was getting someone that can get my, feathers ruffled a little bit would be, probably my son's other part. And you know what? I'd be like, okay. Like there was just things that would normally ruffle me that didn't. So we can't say cure, but there's been lots of data, like 2 NFL players that had massive, had massive issues with their brain with concussions, donated their brains to science after they passed because of how much EHT has corrected their issues with their concussions and things like that, right? So that goes to show you, so everyone can have a different, but by nature, the change happens in the memory, the concentration, the focus, the clarity, and just the emotional capacity, right? So, yeah. Well, thank you for doing so much for mental health. Is that what you do for work now, or?
Currently, well, I'm an author, so I wrote a book and it's called The Secret Chamber of Forgiveness. And so all elements, don't they all play into mental wellness, really? All of the things that we're discussing here, including forgiveness, that's a biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so,
Yeah, we have a woman, you're gonna love Sharon. Stick around for Sharon because she's actually talking about forgiveness and people pleasing. I'm like, there's two topics that kind of ring everybody's bell, but that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so the author and looking to also go on to various platforms. I've already done some podcasts and live, conversations as well. And I'm looking to create a binder right now. So I have a free mental health life report. And my whole life is really revolved around this topic. It's my heart, it's my passion. And I have a heart for anybody who's going through these types of situations when there are many options and things to offset it. So that's the whole kit and caboodle.
Well, reach out to me. We'll get you, at least we'll get you some exposure coming on doing your most magical moment with music. We'll get you on the show. And then sounds like we were going to probably have a great conversation.
I think so.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging in here. So we have time for one other person that wants to share either their self-care, what they do for self-care. I know Angel had us all making a nice little, look at that. She's doing a nice little hand scrub. This is all about taking care of you, self-care, International Women's Day all year round.
I just want to rub this all over my body now.
Or have a question?
Hey, I have to tell you something real quick. Coffee grinds. It also with the you could put sugar with coffee grinds, a little bit of like some sort of an oil, whether it's avocado oil, whatever you want to put in. It's delicious.
Okay, there's another one. So now we have sugar, salt, and coffee.
Coffee grinds and avocado oil, right? Like,
Yeah, there you go.
like I was looking up like just some homemade like bath bombs and sugar scrubs and things like that, right? Of what we could do just to, right? And so like this is just something simple, right? Just to keep in your bathroom, keep on the kitchen sink. So when you go in and just, we're supposed to like wash our hands and count to whatever and sing a song for the length of time. But I mean, I just want to stick my feet in here now.
Oh my gosh.
Great tip, Jennifer. Thank you. Right. Yeah. If you guys have any, kind of kitchen remedies or home remedies or like sneaky little things that you do, that you can like give your little secrets to, we'd love for you to share those inside of our 262 private community. The ladies were sharing some of their favorite self-care tips and things that they do to take care of themselves. I think that, already just, when we start thinking about protecting ourselves, guarding our vibe, who we're hanging out with, cutting the crap out, controlling our mindset, cutting out sugar, getting more sleep, taking care of our brains. Like there's so much good stuff that we have already learned today. And just in listening to it, I feel like I'm taking better care of myself. So, so I've done my little hands.
You've done that. All right. Okay, so I think that we should probably come back and reconvene a little bit. I know that our next speaker is here, and I think if we've all kind of come back, we've done our 7 minutes away. We've all filled our water bottles, and I've got all my stash behind here. I've got like nuts and raisins, and like I made multiple drinks, and I've got like free and probiotics. I've got a little nutraceutical pharmacy going on there. And we'll come back and hey, Mark, nice little baby there. All right. So